With Cassandra, if you have the DataStax Enterprise, I've done it. It's so simple. It takes 1 second. You don't have to have special hardware. This is a great tool for companies that have more than one data center, because you can just put the data anywhere, and it writes to every place at once.
So there's no separate table. It's just one big table. It's just like a key value pair or something like that.
But on different hardware.
So they are all flat files.
Huh?
They are all flat files.
It's just flat files, yeah?
Yes.
There's no, okay, there's no.
So that is called
Table concept.
file
It's
system.
not a structure.
I know, that's,
So Hadoop is
you don't have to
file
design.
system.
Right, it's basically the same as the new file system, but they changed it a little bit. It's called the Cassandra file system, but the idea is the same. And this single point of failure, their biggest customer is Netflix. Netflix has been using them several years. They've never had any downtime. None of the Cassandra releases have had any downtime at any company, which is pretty amazing.
Just the storage.
That's solver. Is this the same as the R in Hadoop?
So R.
What's the distro?
No,
Search.
Solar is just their search engine. R is a great tool, and I recommend everybody learn R. No ETL necessary. So if you are in the old world, you've got your Informatica and other tools, and ETL is a big part of what you need to plan for and the workload. That'll basically be gone once you do your data modeling. Have you ever tweeted? I'm sure you have. Looked at any of these well-known travel places, eBay, Comcast, Best Buy. The point is, these are all customers who use Cassandra for many of their large mission-critical. If you book an Expedia, that's all handled through Cassandra. Best Buy, just they're ordering on Cassandra. eBay is, a lot of it is built into Cassandra now. So those are major data storage. More. Now, Netflix is their biggest customer, and I'm not selling DataStax. I don't want to sound like a commercial, but it's a great tool, and this is to give you an idea of how fast it's caught on and how it's being used. There are other tools out there that are similar. There's Mongo, there's HANA. These are competitors. There's Exadata from Oracle. Oracle said their biggest competitor is not Teradata anymore or IBM, it's Cassandra. Oracle is scared to death of Cassandra because they built Exadata and it doesn't work like Cassandra does. So this is why you need to be aware of this tool. Now
Can you make a comment about Amazon and AWS? Amazon Web Service?
As far as what?
They are all Hadoop. They all use Hadoop.
Yes. But Amazon uses Hadoop. They were one of the companies that helped create the structure or get it going. So, like the other tools, HANA and Mongo, also a lot of companies are adopting those. So, every company's picking one or the other.
General idea, how much the things?
How much?
The
price?
The enterprise, yeah, the
Okay.
cost.
They've gone up against Oracle, for example, on several business cases. They tend to be 90% cheaper than Oracle. We know Oracle is not cheap. Yeah.
So this does everything Oracle can do, right? You think it can be completely?
I'm not
No,
going
I'm just
to
asking
say
you.
that. I'm not going to say anything like that. They do their thing. They'll do everything you expect it to do. You'll never have downtime. It's scalable, it's real-time, it does everything.
So it's even better. That's what you say.
I'm not doing a commercial. They will do their thing and they'll do it cheaper though.
But you still need Oracle to do all the ERP stuff for you.
You'll still use
right?
your Oracle or your Teradata.
Yeah,
or whatever.
otherwise you don't have
I
data
don't
to
think
collect.
No,
You know.
actually, it's a
I don't
cleaning
think they
tool.
replace the
No, I
traditional
mean, in
database.
terms of functionality, features, technically, can it eventually replace Oracle? That's what I'm asking.
Eventually, there was a.
No, I'm asking him.
A lot of companies right now are seeing what this tool or the other tools can do,
Yeah.
and they're moving a lot of uses out of Oracle or
Okay.
other databases into these tools.
So it will.
Okay.
Well, you cannot predict the future.
Because of the time constraint, we need to just speed up a little bit because we were supposed to end this at 4:15, and we cannot be delayed than that. Otherwise, we won't be allowed to use the facility anymore. We have been. I know people were eager to discuss and to learn, but let's control the time a little bit. Thank you.
And my card's here. Please do contact me anytime. I'm happy to talk to anybody.
One small thing on the Oracle and also the other on the Hadoop topic. So given the data retrieval speed, I think they somehow, I got wrong, maybe my impression wrong, Oracle relation maybe got a little advantage with the current Hadoop structure. So how do you see in the future? Will we anything in the big data, got data retrieval thing comparable with the
Well, I've been working with a client that uses Teradata, and they built this query that processes a lot of data from Teradata and sends out a particular message to customers on a rewards loyalty program. And it wasn't well written, but anyway, it took 5 days to process the data. We rebuilt it in Cassandra, and it took a minute.
Wow.
I would say that's progress. I don't think anything's faster than Cassandra. Now, they've done side-by-side tests, and nothing's beaten it.
I understand that a lot of applications use structured data, right? So that's why still a lot of data is stored in Oracle and the other structured data.
Right.
So from your opinion, like what if you start a new, like the application, new data? What do you consider to choose the structured approach or
Well, I think every company in the future will have to think about that when new applications and uses come in. What's the data? What is the format of the data? What are the needs? Do we need it real time? And then make those decisions. Do we keep it in Oracle or do we move it into one of these new tools? Each company's going to have to decide that. Netflix, let me just give you an idea of how Netflix is using this tool. You're watching a movie on your iPad. You pause it, you go in your living room and put on the TV or your PC or whatever. That's all synced through Cassandra.
Because continuous.
There's a lot of data that knows you are watching this movie. It's picking up in the exact same place on this other device. That's all built in Cassandra. The eBay auctions are in Cassandra. All these cool sites are now using it. That's the recent customer list. That's all within a couple of years, which is, I think, really impressive. All these companies they have the tool, they start thinking creatively on new ways to use it. Like we said before, with Teradata, you don't sit around thinking about new ways to be creative with it. It doesn't fit that model, but here you can make changes, do anything. There's a very short video here. I don't know how loud this will be.
considered in all these other contexts. But the architecture of Cassandra and availability, consistency and scalability of it is there is no other database out there that allows you to take advantage of multi-data centers. We showed that as long as there are nodes, and since we run into the cloud, we're not constrained by hardware, as long as we can get nodes, we can scale almost infinitely.
I think the interesting thing there is that that guy's an executive at Netflix, but the CIO of eBay, a busy guy, he has volunteered to go on the road preaching Cassandra because he thinks it's the best thing he's ever seen. Lots of executives are doing it. This gives you an example of what Netflix has on Cassandra. 30 million customers, 1 trillion API calls per year. That's 1 trillion. This number is 900 nodes, which compared to what they would have spent with an Oracle or a Teradata, which they couldn't even do this in, is probably a couple $1 million for this huge implementation. And the whole thing is run with a very small team of people.
So it does not generate a lot of jobs.
Well,
Cassandra consultants.
they'll be paid well. The admin tool that comes with the data stacks is very easy to use. Like I said, they have never found a limit on scalability. They can, any amount of data will keep working and never have issues so far.
That 900 servers is really small number for what, I mean, that's a really small number of servers.
It's 900, yeah, well,
That's amazing.
and there are other companies that are looking at putting in 1,000 or 2,000 to start with, but that is so much more than they need.
What about this cluster, the Amazon cluster? I mean, that 15, how big a cluster?
I'm sorry?
You know, there's the next one, 15 Amazon Web Service cluster. They are, how big are those?
I don't know the details. This
Okay,
is just
so
some
those-
facts they gave us, but it's a pretty big implementation for Cassandra. It would be a lot bigger than anything else.
Question, you mentioned that Cassandra is just a data store. However, Oracle is not just data store. It also provide, the ERP stuff. So are you saying that Cassandra also have a tool to allow you to build the form or things like that, or UI stuff? To replace ERP or Oracle ERP? Is that what?
No, it's not intended to replace. That goes back to that
Different application.
discussion about replacing.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of curious to know. I mean, it doesn't sound like that Oracle is going away. I can understand the speed.
Oracle database.
We're talking about database. I mean, ERP is a different thing, so that's.
This
Yeah.
particular company bought Oracle for this purpose, and then it wasn't working for this purpose. For this use, Cassandra's a lot more
Yeah.
relevant.
Got it.
Like we said, those things will exist forever. These are just some other examples. We're not supposed to tell what retailer that is, but it begins with a W. They have actually, if you go to w.com, that's all run, the shopping cart is now all run through Cassandra. And the reason they changed to Cassandra is 40% of the items available change every day. What their specials are and so on.
That's Walmart.
I didn't say that. This is a quote from the CTO of that company. We needed a system with low latency, high throughput, and high availability. And it's 24/7, they gotta be available. This is the perfect tool for that. They also use it to analyze their customers, so it's very strong in that area too. Williams-Sonoma, continuous availability was their key requirement, no single point of failure. I think it was Williams-Sonoma, no, it was a W company. They actually had a problem where the whole Northeast went down, it just failed. But because they had switched to Cassandra, there was nothing missed. It just backs up automatically onto the other nodes, and once that's back in place, it just fills it back in, no data's lost. You would never even notice. Eliminate ETL between systems, that's a key point. Data centers. I'm just hitting the highlights. Disney, this supports their 300 websites, real-time data analytics and search. Search support was critical. NASA.
Neil, I have a question.
Yes.
If Cassandra is so hot right now, what did you see? What do you see that it's an opportunity for innovation, entrepreneurship, or better job or job security, or this kind of?
Job security, job opportunity is definitely there. Whether it's Cassandra or Hadoop skills, all that, there's a need. Entrepreneurship, there are going to be all these tools. We saw that list of tools. If you look at Hadoop area or any of these, people are coming up with new tools to associate with each of these. So what's available right now, it's going to look different in 2 years. There's going to be a lot of new tools, functionality, but that's what makes it exciting. All this is flying so fast.
So what's a Hadoop again? Can you explain that again? Hadoop? What is it?
You had a good definition before.
Hadoop is a file system.
Hadoop is
It's actually two parts.
Yeah, it's
One
part-
is
it's not
distributed
like-
file system.
Yeah.
That's Hadoop, I think, the distributed file system. And
And
also there's a MapReduce. It's a framework of the processing. That's MapReduce.
And Cassandra is a database on top of that?
No, I don't think.
Well,
How does it relate?
Hadoop actually sits on, it has a similar file system.
Similar.
They call it Cassandra file system, but it's the same architectural thought. And Hadoop is tied to it.
But
I think
I thought
Hadoop
that,
is-
What's the relation? I mean,
It's small.
There's no
Yes.
it's different
relation.
implementation. But
he said the tied to it, so.
Right.
it
I
must
think
be-
the
The
Cassandra,
Hadoop would
if you
provide
want,
the analytics on top of the data in Cassandra.
Oh, and the light, okay, it's not.
Okay.
the Cassandra doesn't need Hadoop, right? But if you want the MapReduce, the feature, you need integrate Cassandra with
Hadoop is
Hadoop,
an
right?
analytic system.
Well, to get the real analytics capability, you need the Hadoop as part of that package.
So it's a
You can
different
buy
process.
Cassandra, put your data in there, but then what do you do with it?
Okay, and.
But I think there's a sequence. Well, Hadoop has the query language, right? It's a SQLite query language.
Yes. Cassandra comes also with a query language, Cassandra SQL. So
Which is called
it works a similar way.
No, it's not.
So can you store like orders, create order against the Cassandra or something like that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you can store the data there by just
Yes.
entering data.
Yes.
So basically, Cassandra is an independent NoSQL database. It can, without
Right.
storage. Yeah, okay.
So for those companies you just mentioned, they have existing application, right?
Yes.
So they put the data in the existing application, or they directly put on the Cassandra?
They put it into Cassandra.
Directly.
Yes.
Oh.
So they have to change their application? I mean, if they have existing
Yes.
application? Then
Well,
that's
they're building a new application. Now you can take your stuff out of Oracle and put it into Cassandra if you're replacing it.
So
But you wouldn't keep putting it into Oracle and then move it to Cassandra.
So every
I have
time,
a question. So I know that the kind of data cache is called Gem5. So what's the difference between Cassandra and the Gem5?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Gem5.
Oh. That's one of the questions I'll hold for later because we're going to get into a lot of detail. I'll get you some more information on that though.
Okay.
With Healthcare Anytime is a fast-growing healthcare company. Again, the CIO, or Chief Technology Officer, Terrell Depp, I've met him. He preaches this. It's, again, they were trying to do it with Oracle or Teradata, I don't remember. But he moved to Cassandra, and he's the happiest guy in the world. He'll come here and tell you how he loves it. But again, the security, the HL7 is the security standards for healthcare data. That was a big concern with the new tool. Does it meet those requirements? And Cassandra did. So whoever was asking about the security, Cassandra has met the highest levels of security needs. HealthX is another healthcare company. Here they used Solar for searching, full redundancy, and full text index. So the data, as quickly as it's loaded into Cassandra, is available to the search.
Do you need Hadoop for Solar? Is Solar on top of Hadoop or?
No.
No, it's separate, and there's been cases, a lot of cases, where companies are trying to use Solar and Hadoop together without the Cassandra, and for various reasons, they're having a lot of problems.
Hadoop is more batch processing. In fact, the process is,
Yeah,
Cassandra is more real time.
it's real time. But the Solar, yeah.
Can you build the application totally based on the Cassandra without any other database?
You can.
Sounds like it is a foundation, it's a data store. You contribute this data.
so what kind of application tool can you use to build on top of the Cassandra? I mean, the application. What kind of application, like like Oracle, they have Oracle form and things like that. So what is build? What can you use to build on top of the Cassandra?
Right now, we're investigating the best approaches to that.
Mm-hmm.
We have several things we're looking at, including I mentioned before, burst. Murphy's building business objects on top. You can really use whatever your tool is.
Okay.
It's got the Cassandra query language,
Okay.
so as long as you're using that, you'll be okay. But that's something we're trying to help them with, having interfaces and things.
Okay.
Oh, somebody asked about the price. 1/3 the time and 1/10 the cost of Oracle. That's a good competitive advantage, I'd say. What we were talking about before, this constant contact, we just add new nodes online, takes a minute or two, and you can scale forever. Mongo is a big competitor to DataStax, and I know a lot of companies are using Mongo also. It's had issues with scalability. It's easier to use at first, I'll tell you that. You use Mongo, you can learn it very quickly. DataStax is a bigger learning curve, but after several weeks, you'll like DataStax better. That's an opinion I've heard from several people. So, but companies are looking at both. I know 3 or 4 companies that compared them side by side and picked Cassandra.
Mongo is not using Cassandra.
Well, they're competitors, similar tools.
So
Now,
your
famous like a NoSQL database option, and MongoDB is more kind of leaning towards replacement for relational database because it comes with a lot of close to your SQL background. It provides queries and provides auto scalability and redundancy and data center to data center replication. So it's quite reliable, and in fact, Cassandra is also very good at those, and I think there are a lot of interesting comparison online, which I hope you can dig through and off this meeting.
We had a discussion on that. We sent a team of people to Cassandra training in, I think, February, and we're in a room like this doing the Cassandra training, and we go out, and then the next room was a Mongo training session. We had a little war going on.
So for your company, you don't care if it's the Cassandra or Mongo, right? If customer want Mongo, you can use Mongo.
Right, yes. I'm actually friends with the people at Mongo. Shop Savvy, I didn't know this, but they're the world's largest site for buying cell phones. So what they do is tie thousands of different retailers and millions of products together to give you the results on shopping comparisons. They use Cassandra with Hadoop for storage and processing. Huge amount of data. And they provide the service to companies like Walmart, CNET. So it has to be fast and meet their SLA requirements.
How do they do search?
Hmm?
How do they search?
They don't specify here, but I'm assuming they're using Solar as part of that package. You hear the same thing over and over again, the no point of failure.
So is your company using Cassandra?
We're using it with our clients.
Okay.
They're consulting.
We don't need it internally.
So that's your.
We're helping clients who have already selected it. So
But that's what you recommend.
it depends on their needs. If a company calls, I'm not going to say, well, buy Cassandra.
Enough?
I will say, what's your need? They'll tell me what they want to use it for, and I'll say, well, this is a good solution. Or this, you pick. I try to be as agnostic as possible. If they want Mongo, if they want Cassandra, if they want HANA. And because of what they have historically, if they're an SAP shop, they'll probably go with HANA anyway. Or whatever their internal politics is.
Neil, just wondering if you can spend a few minutes to talk about the career paths. A lot of people grow up in the traditional database roles, and some people already transfer themselves into data warehouse. And just from career planning perspective, what are the things that they need to be aware of if they are interested to their role in big data?
A lot of people I've talked to several companies recently, AT&T for one, and at that training class I just mentioned, they had a team of people there. That was their first exposure. They bought Cassandra, they told 4 guys to figure out how to use it. And that's really how the development is happening at all these companies. Home Depot, well, they're hiring a few people who sort of have heard of Cassandra. And no offense to them, but it's very hard to find the right people. And so a lot of companies are just telling the people working in data warehousing or BI, figure out what these new tools are. So it's a very jagged path to getting to know it. There are few training classes, not really any good books on it. The other path is the predictive analytics route, which you can get R for free and learn that. There's a lot of good online community stuff. Cassandra, there's 1 or 2 books. You can download it for free and learn it. There's guides to, if anybody's really interested, I have the training program, and I can give you some of that. Just drop me an email and I'll send you some material. A demo? No, we just finished the Cassandra stuff, so I can send you some demo stuff. Really, it's a lot. The training program for Cassandra, I'll tell you, if you want to be a developer in Cassandra, assuming you have a tiny bit of background, is 2 days. That's the certification class.
What kind of background?
If you have a Java background at all, you won't have any problem finding a job.
So if you build some application on top of Java, is most likely
yes.
So you said that 2-day training, that's only for Cassandra, right? Not to use it with Hadoop or other tools.
Sure, yeah, it's just the Cassandra programming.
When you say programming, you mean the drivers to talk to Cassandra or set up? What part? Development or?
Well, there's a couple different classes. There's an admin class, there's a developer class, and so on. Or you can schedule classes and we can come in and train if there's a company that wants that. But the developer is basically learning the Cassandra query language and how you would.
But do most companies use that's CQL or use other, Solar or other tools to query?
Well, it varies. Depends on the client.
So for most of the project you've been involved, what kind of technology stack do they use when they use Cassandra?
It's really all over the place because it's so young that there's no company strategy. Most companies we talk to still don't really get the stack and how all the pieces fit together. So they're buying stuff and trying to figure it out. And then they're asking.
But it's pretty common that use Cassandra with Hadoop and Solar or other tools.
It's getting there, and that will definitely be where everybody goes.
What are obstacles for the executive or the company after deciding to buy Cassandra without using consulting for materials? What's the main obstacle?
Well, you can buy it, you can download it, but then it's a couple of developers at each company just trying to figure it out. And some are doing a very good job of that, some are giving up. It's really not focused.
I think the number I'm reminding the executives when they make a decision is one way to call the firm materials you need to have to speed up the program. Another way that is trying to give some product and so down. What's the reason they make this such a decision, choosing their company or what's not?
Well, I'm not going to speak for each company, but I agree they should bring in a consulting company like ours. But I've actually talked to companies where they bought the tool, said, we don't know anybody who knows anything about this, hire a contractor, say, here's a Cassandra book and learn it.
What's the background of your consultant in your firm? Do they, when they join, do they already know Cassandra, or they need you guys to train them?
No. I don't think you can find anybody in the country who really knows Cassandra. There are, at this point, maybe, I think it was 57 certified people.
Wow.
9 of them are with our company in the whole country. So it's very, the resources is coming up to speed way behind the product.
So how long does it take to certify? You run in the course, right?
2 days.
Even if you know Java, you need Java, right?
It's a big advantage.
Yeah, so how long would it take? Yes.
It depends on.
How smart?
I mean, it's standard. I'm teaching people. Average, okay? I'm not, but I'm smart.
In several weeks, you can learn a lot of it. But I don't want to get people all running out and studying Cassandra and then they expect they're going to get big jobs or anything right away. I don't know.
Who's doing that certification?
So they do.
Cassandra, or data stacks.
DataStack, they're doing it.
Oh, I thought you.
So that's their version of Cassandra, not the open source Cassandra.
Well, if you study, you'll use the free version.
But the certificate is for DataStack or
For Cassandra.
Cassandra?
The data stacks is just some usability features on top of it and the administration tools and things like that. The basic Cassandra isn't much different between data stacks and what you download for Cassandra.
DataStack, they just combine things together, like the slides show, they combine Cassandra, they combine Sora, and
It's
provide.
kind of like Red Hat for Linux, right?
Yeah, they just provide commercial support for
Right.
that. Instead of you support by yourself,
Uh-huh.
you support by the community, and you pay them and they provide
Right.
commercial support for you.
For your company, what's your role? Your company's role to helping your client to provide this kind of different solution, or you also provide development or training?
Depending on what the client needs, it can be the whole thing. Helping them just figure out what their needs are, maybe just doing training.
Pretty much can do everything.
Yeah. We cover anything with data warehousing, the whole gamut reporting. Any other questions?
So only the data stack, the company doing the certification, but you can provide the training, right?
We can.
But you don't do examination, you just do.
Right. Well, we can provide certification after the training.
You can do that?
Yes.
So, okay, so this is what, online, or do you have to?
Right now, it's all classroom.
Huh?
Right now, classroom.
Right, so after a certain number of days of training, like,
Okay, well, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I hope